You are welcome to Tumtum Network. My name is Cyrus, and I want to share something of great importance with you from wherever you are watching me from. It's about the Chinese government, ladies and gentlemen. The Chinese government have studied the success of the Western countries and the collapse of the Soviet Union and have carved out a perfect system for themselves and their economy. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'm only encouraging you to do so to support this cause. Now, I have lived in China for 5 years and I've read and witnessed a lot about what it means to the Chinese government when it decided to build a society of multiple millionaires to change the economic trajectory of the country. And I just finished watching a video of the CEO of Ford Company in America, Jim Farley, describe how the Chinese companies have successfully taken over the EV industry in the world. I'm talking about the global electronic vehicle industry. I sent this same video to a politician to tell me what he makes of it, ladies and gentlemen, and to my surprise, he couldn't put a finger on the one thing that's made the agenda successful for the Chinese people. I want you to take a look at the same video and tell me what you make of it. Let's watch it.
You stole my next question.
Yeah.
China is making very inexpensive EVs.
They are.
And has better infrastructure for charging.
Yes. And all the trillions of profitability that were taken out of China by the Western OEMs, they were busy thinking about their industry strategically. And they bet on electrification about 10 years ago. And now they make 70% of all electric vehicles in the world are made in one country. They own all the battery processing. You want graphite, you want lithium processed to put in a battery, automotive battery, a nickel, you need to go to China. So they have unique battery chemistry like LFP, iron phosphate, which is half the cost, has no fire risk, and can be charged twice as many cycles. So there's unique IP in China now. And many of the companies are sponsored by the government. So we as a company face a kind of ultimate fitness test on this question of making money on EVs. If we cannot make money on EVs, we have competitors who have the largest market in the world, who already dominate globally, who are already setting up their supply chain around the world, and if we don't make profitable EVs next 5 years, what's the future? We just shrink into North America.
First of all, I don't want to claim I'm smarter than you because I'm not. And so I want to believe we all realize the same core reason behind the success of the Chinese business environment. It's not about their technological advancement. It's not about their drive to be successful. And it's not even because they are smarter than the rest of the world, even though there is some truth in that statement. But that's not the reason, ladies and gentlemen. It's rather because of this one statement Jim Farley made. Mind you, Jim made mention of a lot of they have this and they have that and they build that and they build this. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to listen to him again and see who the day in that speech represent. Hear him again.
And many of the companies are sponsored by the government. And many of the companies are sponsored by the government.
And many of the companies are sponsored by the government. End of quote. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the key to Africa's breakthrough right there. He said, and many of the companies are sponsored by the government. I kid you not, ladies and gentlemen. I once lived in a small village in Jinan province in China. In that village, I realized how the Chinese government directly impacted the local economy of the people. There was a huge fabrication warehouse on the outskirts of the town. The size of it was about 5 football pitches combined, if I'm not exaggerating. Inside that warehouse, ladies and gentlemen, was all manner of production machines and companies working on different projects. The Chinese government built it. He built it for any manufacturer in that village or anyone nearby the towns close to that warehouse to have a centralized place of production where electricity is connected 24/7 water, and road access provided. The raw materials are provided by the local government and sold to manufacturers at regularized fees, ladies and gentlemen. So the producers only had to invent something and book the machines they want to use and be given time to come in. They had machines that produced all manner of plastics and glass bottles in whatever shape and sizes available. They had machines that produced and printed all manner of t-shirts and suits. You just need to figure something out and book your place. This is the definition of an enabling environment. You think we produce the means to production and tax you accordingly. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how prices are stabilized in China for years. I stayed in China for 5 years, and in that time, Coca-Cola was sold at 3 yuan till I left. This can be achieved because the raw materials are sold by the government or the state at a fixed price. You as a private business person can never compete with that kind of arrangement. No wonder all companies around the world are folding up and rather reproducing in China and in some part of Asia. Take a look at the largest banks in the world. In the top 10 list, China alone has 4 banks represented: the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, the Agricultural Bank of China, the China Construction Bank, and the Bank of China. And guess what's the common thing among all these banks? Ladies and gentlemen, they are owned by the government of China. Again, take a look at the world's largest farms. The top 10 has 2 Chinese farms represented, and they occupy the first and the second positions. They are both owned by the Chinese government. Take a wild guess, ladies and gentlemen, of the size of their largest farms. Guess it. It's 22.5 million acres of land. The area of their largest farm, the size of that land, is comparable to the size of Portugal, South Carolina State in America, and the country Jordan. That's how big their farms are. That's more than 9.1 million hectares of farmland for the state occupying the first place. The second farm is 11 million acres. The total size of the 2 Chinese state farms is bigger than all the other farms on the top 20 list in other countries combined. It's owned by the Chinese government, ladies and gentlemen. The CEO of Ford Company in America indirectly gave us in Africa the way out of poverty in this continent. State enterprises. Per what he's saying, China is on course to take over the world in terms of production of everything in the next 5 years because of their sheer size of the production lines and their comparative advantage over everyone else in the world. They are producing way cheaper and faster than everybody else. The Chinese automaker BYD just surpassed Tesla to become the world's largest producer of pure electric cars. This happened in the 4th quarter of 2024. Do you have any idea the gap they are going to give Tesla in the next 5 years to come? It's a planned approach backed by government funding to push Chinese indigenous companies to the very top of the world. And in that process, ladies and gentlemen, millions of jobs and opportunities have been created to the regular Chinese. As of January 2025, China is the country with the most billionaires globally. Billionaires, with 814 number of billionaires, surpassing the United States of America, which has 756. And the same China now has over 9 million population of millionaires, ranking second only behind the United States of America. How did this happen in 40 years, ladies and gentlemen? It is the government of China that decided to change the destiny of the people from a people who were poor and unrespected to a people that is literally controlling prices of about 70% of all goods across the world. They are now formidable. So Africa, ladies and gentlemen, Africa, let me talk to you. Africa, you that is poor and unrespected around the world. The Africa that is looked down on and stereotyped for any type of evil. What will you do about this, Africa? Will you continue to learn from the ways of the Westerners, which for many decades have proven non-effective and saddled with corruption? Or will you follow in the lines of the East? Africa, I ask you, do you want to prosper and see your people prosper in their lifetime? Then I suggest to you, you look into merging your democracies with some pint of socialism, where the government allows the people to practice their cultures and their religions and their freedoms, but the government gets involved in the farming, manufacturing, and the production of goods and services across board. This is going to be our winning formula. Government must own mining companies. Government must own farms. Government must own oil blocks. Government must own production lines. If the state doesn't trust the management of the enterprises, we will have to consider bringing in experts from around the world. It doesn't matter their nationality, to work on contracts and on targets for the state. In Africa, we have zero excuse not to prosper, zero excuse not to run state enterprises efficiently and profitably. If it means not getting involved with some ridiculous agreement with some Western powers to restrict you from running state enterprises, don't entangle yourself in that. The country is not your personal property. It shouldn't only be run on your interest. It's for the people. Employ different people from around the world to come and work in your country at managerial and supervisory levels for the interests of the state. Leave the people to do all their businesses they desire. Let them do it, but get busy. Governments of Africa, get busy and get involved and start competing. The kind of competition out there is going to destroy all our local businesses. It is too tough for private and individual businesses to compete. We will need the state participation to produce at competitive rates. It starts with government and ends with the people. This is the time to arise and lead as a leader. This message is to you, President of Ghana, President John Dramani Mahama. This is to you, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of Nigeria, President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa. This is to you, President Bassirou Faye of Senegal, President Alhassan Ouattara of Ivory Coast. This is to you, every president of this great continent. This is a letter to all of you. We have to see Africa prosper in our lifetime. Thanks for watching this one. Be sure to subscribe and watch more of my videos and help me share this link. God bless the motherland, and it's bye-bye for now.